Good afternoon, everyone. We just need to wait a few minutes here. We're waiting for the remaining commission members to join in on the meeting here. So please bear with us for a few minutes. So for folks who have recently joined, just know that we're just waiting a few more minutes here. We don't quite yet have our quorum of Archaeological Commission members, so we are still waiting for a few others to join. So please just be patient with us.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, good morning, Bill. We're just give us one moment here. I see Benjamin looks like he's trying to connect to the audio here, so it doesn't look
cool.
like the audio's quite come through yet. So bear with us for a minute here.
Just you open.
So I see that Benjamin's audio still appears to be having trouble here. So just please bear with us another couple minutes.
Hey, Allison.
Okay, looks like we do have audio. So let me just run around here and make sure that we've got everybody on here. So Allison Scott, it does appear like you've got your audio up and running. I know I've heard from Bill, so we know we've got him up and running. And Benjamin, is your microphone working? And your audio?
Is the audio working?
Benjamin, can you hear us? And
Can't hear.
okay, excellent.
Yes,
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm new at this.
No problem. We're all learning with this. So thank you very much. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to call the Archaeological Commission meeting to order. This is July 8th, 2020. It is 2:06 p.m. And we're going to go ahead and start with roll call. So I will note that a representative of Planning and Building is present here. Myself, my name is Julia Acker-Krog. I am the Chief Planner. I am taking over this meeting for Vandy Vandewater, who is out of the office at this time. So next, do we have our museum representative?
Right here.
Thank you. Do we have our archaeological representative?
William Call, present.
Thank you. And our Native American representative? Oh, and I'm sorry, Allison, I think you're muted.
Uh-oh. How about
Now
now?
I can hear you.
Okay, okay.
Okay, and then I'll run through them even though I don't see them here. Our timber representative? Hearing none. And then our alternate member? And hearing none. Okay, so we do have a quorum here with our 3 representatives present plus the Planning and Building Services representative. So we're going to go ahead. We have a full agenda today, and I want to thank everyone for participating via Zoom today. I know it's a little different than our usual. So we're going to start with our items under survey required. And the first case is it's item 3A, case CDP 2019-0002. This is for the owner applicant is Frank Abels, and it's an administrative coastal development permit for the construction of a single family residence with attached garage, including a driveway and production well and the sewer connections to public sewer district. There is also associated with this a variance request to have a 29-foot building height where 28 would typically be allowed. And we do have our staff planner, Jessie Waldman, here on the line. And I believe she would like to request that this item possibly be moved to a future agenda. So Jessie, why don't you go ahead and take yourself off mute?
Good afternoon, commissioners. Thank you for your service that you do in Mendocino County. My name is Jessie Waldman. I am a planner for Planning and Building Services of Mendocino County. I work in the Fort Bragg office. I've never met you guys, so nice to see your faces. Yes, I would like to request that CDP 2019 2 gets continued to the next available ARC Commission hearing because the applicants are working on obtaining a current up-to-date archaeological survey. At this time, they weren't sure if it was going to be completed as of today's date. So that would be my request. If you have any questions, I am available.
Do we have any questions from the commissioners of staff?
Yeah, well, we'd like to see the study from 1976 or go with a recommendation for a survey.
So I think what Jessie Waldman was just alluding to is that the applicant is preparing a survey. So the request today is to continue this item to the next agenda, and then it would be agendized underneath a review of survey at that time.
Okay.
So if I could just get a motion from one of you in a second for that continuance to the agenda in August, that would be helpful.
Sure, I make a motion that CDP 2019-0002 be postponed till the August meeting.
I second the motion.
Thank you. And I will just run through roll call here since there's just 3 of you. So let's go ahead and start with Allison.
Yes.
Okay, Benjamin
Yes.
and Bill.
Yep.
Okay, excellent. So with that, that motion carries and this item is continued to the August agenda. So thank you very much for that. Now our next item is case 3B, and this is CDP 2019-0044, which is for a standard coastal development permit to authorize the construction of a 2,533 square foot multi-story single-family residence with a maximum average height of 25 feet above natural grade. A detached 622 square foot covered roof, in parentheses, roof mount solar carport with a maximum height of 15 feet from natural grade. A 130 square foot detached storage building, installation of a view obscuring fence 6 feet in height, an attached covered walkway, patio with integrated hot tub, landscape courtyard, driveway, connections to utilities, water supply, and septic system. And so now I do want to let you know with this item, I received an email from our staff planner, Ms. Tia Saar, for this item requesting that the item be pulled from the calendar. The applicant is working on some revisions to the project. So actually, we won't even be entertaining a motion on this item. This item is being withdrawn from the current agenda, and it'll be re-agendized in the future for discussion. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and move past item 3B, and we are now going to be on item 3C.
Okay, you might let him know that he will probably need a survey.
Yes, I agree with Bill.
Okay, thank you very much for that note. And I think we'll get a more formal discussion with the revised project when that comes forward. But I will be sure to pass that along to the staff planner. So thank you. So now we're on to case 3C. This is still under determination of whether or not a survey is required. And this is Coastal Development Permit 2020-0001. This is an administrative coastal development permit to authorize construction of a 2,198 square foot multi-story single-family residence with a maximum height of 28 feet above natural grade. The request also includes an attached 576 square foot garage, fencing, detached greenhouse, 200 square foot paved driveway, installation of a septic and propane tanks, and connection to utilities, including the Surfwood Mutual Water Corporation and common lake field. There will also be removal of trees within the building envelope to facilitate the development. And this is located in the Mendocino area within the Surfwood subdivision at 44731 Baywood Drive. And that is in the 5th district. So now I will turn that over to you folks for some discussion on this item.
Okay, well, we need to see the 1986 survey report before we would make a decision, or resurvey. I mean, they can resurvey now, or you can wait till I get the report from the Northwest Information Center, the report from '86 that Flynn did.
Do any of the other commissioners have any comments on this item too? Oh, and I'm sorry, Allison, I think you're on mute. There we go. Now we can hear you.
Sorry about that. Can you still hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I agree with Bill. We need to see the survey, but I would still say, in any event, that we'd probably survey it anyway, have it surveyed. Just because of the location.
So for sake then, so what the two comments I've heard so far is a request to see the 1986 survey,
If they can get it.
if they can get it.
Yeah.
And then if I heard correctly, would you be wanting to see that it is resurveyed entirely? Or only that, do you want to first review the survey before determining if an additional survey is required?
I should think we would want to review the existing survey. Hello?
Sorry, just one moment here. Thank you. Sorry, that was our administrative staff just letting me know. So just for a reminder for commissioners, if you can mute in between or limit background noise, just because there was some garbling over our live feed there. So just to be aware of that. So I apologize, Benjamin, if you could just repeat your last statement.
Oh, I was just going to say, I agree. We should wait until we can see the existing 86 survey.
Okay, and then determine whether or not an additional survey is warranted.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, or wait till we see the survey, or if they don't want to wait, they could do a survey now, because this one's pretty old, and we don't know. It says approximately 100%, so we don't know what they surveyed and what they didn't survey. And it's a very sensitive area next to the ocean and everything. Oh, yeah, it's on a major waterway to the ocean. So.
Okay, and then I do see that we do have a representative for the application on the line here. So I'm going to go ahead and allow them in to talk here. This is John Griffiths. I apologize if I've missaid that last name. So that Mr. Griffiths, if you have any comments on the discussion that's being had here related to whether or not producing a copy of the 1986 survey or resurveying the site, and please just restate your name for the record.
Yes, my name is John Griffiths, and we'll resurvey the site. Since that'll be more expedient.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for that. So then what I've heard here was that essentially, and I would ask for this to be a formalized motion, that an archaeological survey would be required. So if I could receive a motion from one of the commissioners formally requiring that an archaeological survey be required, that would be appreciated.
Your turn, Allison.
Okay, Bill. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure. I'd like to make a motion that we have CDP _2020-0001 be surveyed.
And do we have a second?
Second the motion.
Thank you. So I will run through my roll call vote here again. So Bill.
Yes.
Okay. And Allison.
Yes.
Okay. And
Yes.
Benjamin.
Aye.
Thank you. So with that, the motion carries. So for CDP 2020-0001, an archaeological survey has been determined to be required. Thank you, Mr. Griffiths, for being on the call today. Okay, so thank you. We're going to move on to item 3D on our agenda, which is Administrative Permit 2019-0073. The owner is PB&J Ranch Management, LLC. Applicant is Brett Todoroff. I sincerely apologize if I butchered that name. And then agent is Peter Hewson. The request is an administrative permit for a large mixed light, type 2B, which consists of 10,000 square feet of canopy. And it would be on a parcel which is in the Forest Land District, hence the requirement for the administrative permit. And this site is located at 3595 Highway 101 in Piercy. And the project planner is Mark Kleiser, who may be joining us, I'm unsure. But you do have in your packet for this item the recommendation from Sonoma State University, which did note that there was a previous survey in the area from 1985.
Okay, so the Foster survey from '85 identified one or more cultural resources. So we need to see that study, or he needs to hire an archaeologist to figure out where those sites are in relationship to whatever ground disturbance he's going to carry out.
Okay, and I do want to note that we do have two, the applicant as well as the consultant that is, I believe, here on the line. So that is Brett Todoroff. I again apologize if I butchered that last name, and then Steve Liu. So we're going to bring both Brett and Steve into the meeting here. And I see both of you have unmuted, so please just state your name for the record. And then, of course, you may make any comments that you have regarding whether or not a survey should be required.
Hi, my name is Brett Todoroff. I provided the 1985 study to Mark Kleiser, along with associated map of where our project is taking place. The ARC study is the ARC site is well far away from the project. I don't see any impact in any way. That documentation was provided quite a long time ago to Mark.
But it's not in our packet, so we don't have it.
I have it right here. I have the ARC study along with the map that I provided, the property diagram with the ARC site. Is there a way to send this? Can I email this in right now, or is there? It was properly provided in the right channels to Mark Kleiser quite some time ago.
So the challenge I foresee here is that we're doing all of this remotely, and so I'm unsure if we'd be able to have folks be able to look at their emails as well while we do this. So we've got a couple options here. If you've already provided that copy of the survey, what we can do is put you on to our next available calendar, which is going to be in August, and ensure that that information is presented to the Archaeological Commission here, so they have an opportunity to review that prior to the meeting. And so I don't know if the commissioners have any comment on that, if they'd prefer, if we can get you a copy of the survey, maybe we move this to the end of the agenda and come back to it, or we can potentially pursue doing the continuance to the next agenda. So I'd like to kind of gauge the commissioners' comments on that.
We'd just like to see where the sites are in relationship to the ground disturbance area, or in relationship to the grow buildings. Yeah.
So if we were able to email that information to you commissioners, would you be willing to look at that, and maybe we move this item to the end of our agenda to allow the time for staff to send that, and then you can look at it at that point?
We could try.
Yeah, we
Okay.
can try. I don't mind.
Okay, so then
See what we can do.
Yeah, so I would say, Mr. Todoroff, if you can go ahead and please send that to our email for the planning and building, which is pbscommissions@mendocinocounty.org. Then we can ensure that that gets out to the three commissioners here, and we will move this item just to the end of our agenda today and hopefully be able to review all of that.
Okay, great. I will send that right.
Okay, thank you. So we will just go ahead then, and we're going to reorder the agenda here and move item 3D to the very end of the calendar. So this is going to be heard after portion 4 of our agenda under the review of survey. So we will come back to this item. So Brett and Stephen, please just do stay on the line, but we're going to move you back into the attendee, into the webinar, so you can hear what's going on, but we'll pull you back in when we rehear this item.
Thank you.
Okay, So then with that, we'll go to our next item on the agenda, which is case item 3E, case number U 2019-0025. And this is for the owner is H2O Projects, LLC. The applicant is Dwight Allan Harris, Jr. The request is a minor use permit to allow for a cannabis cultivation permit of no more than 2,500 square feet of mature canopy and a nursery of no more than 12,000 square feet of immature canopy within separate structures per Mendocino County Code sections 20.242.040C1C and 20.242.040B. This site is located at 27972 Highway 20 in Fort Bragg. And so again, we have a response from Sonoma State University noting that there is no previous cultural resource field survey for this site.
Whoop. Lost the sound.
Oh, no, so I was just leaving that over to you guys. So we've got, you know, basically the Sonoma State University letter said that there was no previous survey. So I'll turn that over to you guys to discuss.
What do you think, Bill?
What's the? Oh, I was just wondering what the environment is. Is it in a little valley? I can't quite tell from the map.
Jim, to go ahead.
Is it up on a ridge or in the valleys, or is there
It's definitely
spring?
forested.
So, and if you look, it is in an area that's forested. So if you're familiar with the Highway 20 area, when you start going out Highway 20, you know, Noyo River has some steep banks that lead down into it. And this site looks like it's in one of those sort of nearby the existing residential neighborhoods, but right on the top of a ridge above where it drops down into the Noyo River, excuse me.
Yeah, it's definitely on top, Bill,
Yeah.
but it's kind of in the middle of nowhere.
And it does not
Yeah,
appear that we have an applicant representative on the line either, just for your note.
Yeah, I wish we had it on a better contour map, but it's I mean, it looks like it's on a waterway that goes down to Noyo River. How far away do you think it is from Noyo?
Let me use my measuring skills here to see if I can turn it from the map. So let's see here. So, you know, it looks like it's about a mile. What I can see on here is it looks like there is probably what's a tributary that would lead out into the the Noyo River, not the Navarro River, that starts right about the lower northwest, the most northwesterly corner of that property. But if you look at the site plan, you will see that the cultivation area is actually pulled the furthest away from where that tributary connects.
So yeah, Bill, the Y of the tributaries would be to the east of the property.
Right. So this grow area is already established, right?
Yes, so this is a permit that's coming in underneath our legacy application, so meaning somebody who's demonstrated proof of prior cultivation. And I do see that I have an attendee raising their hand here, so I'm going to let them in and see if this might be our applicant. So let me go ahead. Excuse me, the individual with the My iPhone, could you please are you related to this use permit application? Hello, caller. Could you identify yourself?
So yeah, the Y of to the east of the property.
Excuse me, caller. Could you identify yourself?
This grow area is already established, right?
Yes. So this is a permit that's legacy application. So meaning somebody who's demonstrated proof of prior cultivation. Okay. So it sounds like we're getting some feedback on this My iPhone person. So we'll let them sort that out before we try to rehear that. Sounds like we're getting quite a bit of feedback from the YouTube stream on that. So I apologize for interrupting. Please go ahead.
Are they going to add any new greenhouses?
There we are. This is Dwight Allan Harris Jr.
Thank you. Hello. Please go ahead and provide your comments. There was just a question about whether or not you intend to add any additional greenhouses to the site.
That is our intention.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Good.
Well,
There
we
is
should probably have
an administrative permit for a 5,000 or sort of 4,000 square foot greenhouse that'll have the nursery in it to support the indoor cultivation that we're seeking entitlement for now. And it's all on the existing flat that you see. So everything has already been graded during a 3-acre conversion. And there should also be a archaeological survey that was provided to you by Mark Kleisner.
No. Uh-oh. But we don't have it.
Yeah, again, it does not appear that an archaeological survey made it into our packets here for this item.
Is Mark attending the meeting?
I will have to, if we don't mind, I'll take a few-minute pause here with the permission of the commissioners here. So if we could just have everyone please mute yourselves. We're going to take a little pause here from our broadcast. And let me just walk down the hallway here and see if I can sort some of this out. So give me a few minutes, please.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hey, Allison.
Hey, Bill. How are you doing?
Hey, pretty good. How's the
Yeah.
kids?
They're okay. We're
How are the
hanging in
kids?
there. They're okay.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's good.
It's been rough, but you know.
Yeah, huh? Crazy. It's getting more scary too.
It sure is. It sure is. They're
Yeah.
trying. We've been trying to do a little activity, so I don't know how long we'll
Have you
stick with it.
made it to the ocean with them? No.
No, we're sticking
Okay.
at home.
Commissioners,
Okay.
We're trying.
you are still live on YouTube. We are just taking
Yeah.
a pause, so
Sorry.
no worries. Just trying to protect your privacy there.
Allison.
Yes,
Can you
I'm
hear me?
still here. Yeah, I
Oh,
can.
yeah. I managed to meet my daughter at Big River Beach last Thursday,
Yeah.
and I hadn't seen her for like 2.5 months, so that was pretty good.
Yeah. Well, good for you. Good.
We wore masks, and then we played in the surf without the mask and kept distance and stuff.
Yeah. It's a chore, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, we haven't been doing much.
How's Lois?
I haven't seen her. Or heard, so hopefully okay.
Cobolo is a
Oh.
giant.
Oh.
Okay. All right, commissioners. So thank you for letting us take a pause there. So I took a walk down the hallway. I do now have Mark Kleiser here in the room with me. Unfortunately, what happened is it appears that the archaeological survey did not make it into the packets that were mailed out. So unfortunately, this item will need to be continued to the next agenda because the commission has not had the opportunity to review that full survey. So with that, this item will just have to be scheduled for the next Archaeological Commission hearing, which is going to be on August, excuse me, let me do my math here, August 12th. So to the applicant, I sincerely apologize. We will be making sure that our packets are correct as they head out. Mr. Harris, I apologize for that. We will be sure that this gets corrected in the round that goes out in August. So that way we have the full information in front of us.
This is over a 5-month delay since the survey's been submitted.
I understand, sir. The challenge is that at this time, the commissioners don't have your full survey in front of them, so they cannot make a determination when they do not have the information to review in front of them.
Sorry, it's just a disappointment.
I understand, and we will make sure, these are always the worst situations, we'll make sure that we get this agendized properly and ensure it goes early on in the agenda for our August meeting. So this item will be heard at our August 12th meeting under review of survey as opposed to determining whether or not a survey is required.
That we've already completed the survey.
Yes, I understand. So no, it's review of survey rather than determining if a survey is required. I apologize that, so this item we will not be hearing this item today. We will be hearing this item in August.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So at this time, we're now moving into the second phase of our agenda, which is getting into the review of survey. And I'm just going to one item. So with Mark, if you would connect and make sure that that map gets sent to these folks for the AP 2019-0073.
Got it.
Thank you. Okay, so now we're on to review of survey. So the first item up, this is Coastal Development Permit 2019-0049. The owner is Fukasawa and, oh gosh, I'm going to butcher this, Sionko, I want to say. I apologize again for butchering of names. And I do note that we do have representatives for the application on the line. It appears that we have 4 separate individuals. We have Amy Wynn, Alex DeGiorgi, Richard Sionko, and Natsuki Fukasawa. And I sincerely apologize if I butchered any names with that. So we will go ahead and move those folks over into the meeting here. But I'll just introduce this item briefly. So the item is Coastal Development Permit 2019-0049. And the request is to construct a single-family home and ancillary development at a site located at 46880 Iverson Lane in Gualala. And the staff planner is Jesse Waldman, who is also available on the line in case you have any questions. And so with that, you have a survey in your packet as well as an updated memo from March 12th regarding the Archaeological Survey report. And I will turn this over to the commissioners for discussion. Oh, and Bill, you are muted. Now
Yeah,
I can hear you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I've read it thoroughly, and it's acceptable to me.
Awesome. Yeah, I don't have any further discussion either.
Yeah, everything,
Benjamin?
good. Everything looks good.
Okay, so I make a motion, CDP 2019-0049 that we accept with a recommendation.
I'll second.
Thank you. So we have a motion by Bill, a second by Allison. So I'll go through our roll call here. So we have, let's start with Benjamin.
Aye.
Thank you.
Yes.
Allison.
Yes.
And Bill.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So with that, the survey is accepted, and I realize we didn't turn over to the applicant, so I'm unsure. Applicant, do you have any comments that you wish to make on this?
Amy Wynn, no, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you. All right, so with that, the survey is accepted with any recommendations within the report being adhered to. So then next up, we have, oh, pardon me one moment. All right, thank you. I apologize. We're just making sure we've got all of our applicants and such on the line here. So we're moving on to our next case, which is use permit 2019-0014. And this is, the applicant is AT&T Mobility, the owner is Chris Wright, and the agent is Epic Wireless LLC. This is a major use permit to authorize construction and operation of a wireless communication facility consisting of a 111-foot tall lattice tower, 12 antenna, various appurtenant equipment, ground equipment, 30 kilowatt generator with a 190-gallon fuel tank, and various equipment cabinets. Associated improvements include a 12-foot wide, 1,060-foot long gravel and paved access route to the tower site. The proposed lattice tower will be located within a 1,050 square foot fenced compound. This site is located at 31271 Sherwood Road in Willits. And our staff planner is Keith Gronendike, who is available in case you have questions. I would just need to go grab him. And then I do just want to note that this item is the item where we received numerous public comments, which were posted to the item as well as shared with the commissioners. And I do want to note, though, that there was one additional comment received this morning, which was not able to be posted yet at this time. It's a very short item, so I'm just going to read it into the record. It just says, hi, I live on Sherwood at 3rd Gate. Cell reception is terrible to non-existent. Please allow this tower to happen. Signed, Jeffrey Hoover. So with that, you do have a survey in front of you for consideration, and I understand that our administrative staff is pulling in a gentleman who is from Geist Engineering and Environmental Group in case you have any questions.
Sorry, I'm still trying to get it on my maps here.
No problem. I understand.
Okay.
Any comments or questions on this report from the commissioners at this time?
Well, I read it and I'll accept it with recommendations. I read it and I'll accept it with recommendations.
Oh, you're hearing a little feedback coming through. That's why you're hearing yourself twice. So let's see, do we have a second on that motion?
I'll second.
Oh.
Sounded like we had a second from Benjamin,
Yeah.
so we'll go ahead and take that. So that was from Bill, second from Benjamin. All right, so let's go ahead and run through the roll call here. So we'll start with Allison.
Yes.
And Benjamin?
Yes.
And Bill?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. So with that, the survey is accepted with any recommendations of the report being adhered to. Okay, excellent. Thank you for that. And so we are moving right along here. So our next case is use permit 2019-0019, which is the owner applicant is Divine Assistance International. The agent is Patrick Huffman. And the request is for a minor use permit for religious assembly involving construction of several structures to house the religious activities, as well as to establish a family residential dwelling group of 4 single-family residences and 2 accessory dwelling units, a guest cottage and a detached bedroom. So this site is located at 60991 Bell Springs Road, which is in about 11 miles north of Laytonville, and out Bell Springs Road, which intersects with So the project planner is Susan Summerford, who I do not have available today, but I will of course be able to do my best to answer any questions. And I do see that we have the agent on the line here, Mr. Patrick Huffman, who would be available to answer questions as well. So with that, I will turn this over to the commission.
Is that since he did the survey? He did the report.
Yes, there was a
Yeah, I cannot, let's see. I never voted on this, but I did the survey, so.
Yes, so I do not believe that you can actually vote on this item. So in this instance, the Planning and Building Services representative is able to make motion, but only provided that there's, that I would not be making the motion, but I can be a voting member on this item. So with that, I would say, Bill, we'll be keeping you silent on this one, and let's hear from
Okay.
Allison and Benjamin related to the survey results.
Okay.
Can we question Bill or?
Yes,
comment?
you can. Yes.
Okay. Just making sure. So you found the site, the lithic scatter, Bill, in the road?
Right. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
And we recommended capping the site or rerouting. And at the time, Patrick, rerouting was too expensive for him. So I pretty much just went with recapping. But then in the end, he wants to reroute it. So.
So it's going to be avoided anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the reroute is, he tried to explain to me where the reroute is, but it was kind of confusing, so I don't really know. I think some of it may, yeah, some of the reroute may have been included in the 30-meter corridor that we surveyed, and some of it may not be.
How comfortable are you with? Do you feel like you should go back and look at it?
I don't think I can. I don't think I can answer that question legally.
Okay. So we're going to determine.
I mean, that's a question for Julia, I guess.
And I apologize if you could repeat the question for me.
Allison was asking me whether or not I thought the reroute needs to be surveyed. And I don't really understand exactly where the reroute is. Some of it may have been surveyed, some of it may not have. But because I was the archaeologist, I think it's illegal for me to make a recommendation as to what to do.
I would say you could only make a recommendation as a representative of the application and not as a member of the Archaeological Commission.
Yeah, I think there's an economic conflict of interest here, and I just want to leave. I want to leave the rest of it up to the commission.
Thank you, Bill.
Sure.
Okay.
So what I was asking is the site that was found in the road, and in the report
Correct.
it was recommended to have it capped, which I'm totally fine with. But in the end, the owner or the applicant is going to reroute around that section anyway.
That's my understanding.
Okay. And so I was just asking Bill if he felt like he should go back and survey that area. You think he covered enough? I was just asking his opinion, so
yeah.
I don't know if I'm asking that as
ask him.
I see Mr. Huffman's unmuted himself. So Mr. Huffman, please just state your name for the record. Mr. Huffman, do we have you on the line? It does not appear your audio is coming through, Mr. Huffman. Yeah, it does not appear that Mr. Huffman's audio is working at this time. I do see that he has his hand. Oh, there we go. Now we got you. Go ahead.
Sorry about that. Yes, Bill, sorry if I can address you. To clarify, my assumption was that I would need to reroute. But at the time, I didn't have the actual road design. It turns out the design, as it's originally designed, avoided the site anyway. I sent you a PDF just now from Laco Associates that has the survey of the site plus the road route through that drainage. So you have that in your email, I hope now, Bill. If you could see an email from me. I'm sorry, I don't have anybody else's email. If I could do a screen share with you guys, I could show everybody the survey.
Actually, Mr. Huffman, I would respectfully ask that you do not, as those any results in the survey are confidential. So please do not share your screen.
No problem. I don't have that option anyway. You're hosting. So. But okay, so I thought that would be one way to handle it. So anyway, Bill, the survey that I sent you of that particular section shows that the road clearly avoids the site. And when we talked a week or so ago, there was that one rock outcropping you were talking about above the site. And you can see that clearly on the survey. So, and the road stays below that. So it didn't cost me anything to reroute, thankfully, or to get it resurveyed to reroute. It was just naturally in straightening their road, it avoids the site. I'm happy to cap the site regardless if that's what you guys would prefer. That's not a problem at all, but the road does avoid it at this point. So the question, I think, is whether or not your survey actually got into the road route. Correct, Bill?
The reroute.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
it actually
that's the
isn't a
question.
reroute, but yes. So I think you could look at that survey. I can't remember what the name of your associate was that was working with you at the time here on the survey.
Sid.
But I did see
Sid.
Sid down there in the route, but I can't say whether she did the entire, the other 12-foot. I can't say exactly. You'd have to look at that survey and see.
Well, I can go on my email now and check it out.
Yeah, please do.
Okay.
That would be great.
Julia,
So I think
okay, Julia?
I think certainly, Bill, you certainly, as you are on the applicant side here, you can certainly look at whatever documentation you see fit. I think what I've heard here sounds like that the road has been rerouted around any identified site. And the commission could also entertain just solidifying that recommendation here of ensuring that the road is rerouted around this site. And then if you requested anything additional, whether that would be capping the site or anything beyond that.
Well, the question is whether or not the reroute has been surveyed.
Okay. So, Bill, yes, I think then you probably want to take a look at your map there, and as the archaeologist who prepared this report, determine whether or not your survey covered this area.
Okay, let me do that now then.
Okay. We'll take a little pause here.
Thank you.
Am I still unmuted?
Yes, you are, Mr. Huffman. Yes.
I see Bill. Looking at the map, Bill. So if you have any questions, I can talk you through where we went.
Yeah, I
Bill.
can't. Yeah, where is the site?
The site, you see the on the left side of the map, the marker number 78 up there, 3018.768.
Yeah.
That was right at the very north edge of the site, actually. So that's it goes back towards, you can see the rocky knoll there that the road route goes around just to the south of that number 78 survey mark.
Well, yeah, okay, so we're avoiding the site, that's good, but it's up to the
Mhm.
commission to figure out whether they want the reroute surveyed or not. Because I can't really,
Well,
I can't
essentially,
tell whether it needs
essentially,
needs to
Bill, it
be.
would be, we would need to survey from the culvert to the, basically to that rock mound. There's, I don't know what it would be, 100 feet there maybe or something of the road route below the site. So everything else
Yeah, it's up to,
was on the mark. Anyway, sorry to interrupt.
yeah, no, no problem.
So thank you for all that commentary then. So Bill, if I'm hearing correctly, then you're unable to discern from the map whether or not you had previously surveyed that area?
Correct.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. So I'm going to look at the other commission members here and see whether or not you have a desire to request any further surveying of the site or that road specifically before you take any sort of action on this survey request in front of you.
Personally, I would like to see a survey of the reroute before we proceed any further.
Okay, thank you for that comment, Benjamin. And then Allison?
You know, just to be on the safe side, just because it's, you know, there is a site there, I would feel comfortable too with having a quick look at the new proposed road section.
Okay, and it appears we had lost Bill there for just a moment. So Bill, the confirmation there was that both Benjamin and Allison agreed that the road portion, the reroute, should be resurveyed or surveyed additionally before considering the entirety of the application. And I, as the Planning and Building Services representative, would also support their request for that. So I would be looking to see a motion from one of the commission members here echoing that this item be continued until that road reroute is resurveyed.
Okay, then I make a motion that we should continue this until that road is resurveyed.
And do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so then I will do a roll call vote, and this is always a little awkward, so I'm going to call on myself. Julia Acker-Krog, I say yes. Turning to Allison.
Yes.
And Benjamin.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So with that, the motion to continue this item for additional survey of the road reroute has passed, and we will reschedule this item for a future Archaeological Commission hearing once we receive that additional information related to this road reroute. So thank you very much. So with that, I'm going to take my hat off participating in the vote and include Bill back into this the next item on the agenda here. So next up, we have Coastal Development Permit 2019-0047. The owner applicant is Kate Schulte and Jeanette Corby, and the agent is David Springer. This is a standard coastal development permit to construct a single-family residence, attached garage, driveway, propane enclosure, solar array, landscaping, and connection to water and sewer district. This site is located at 10935 Pallet Drive, Mendocino, and the staff planner is Jesse Waldman. And then I do see that we have a representative of the application also available on the line, Miss Diana Wiedemann. And so there is a survey prepared for this item, and I will turn this over to the commission for any discussion. And it does sound like we have Diana Wiedemann also here available on the line in case there's any questions.
Bill, may I request that you unmute yourself if you would like to speak, Bill?
Oh. Thank you for that, Jesse. There we go.
So,
They have not gone through the Northwest Information Center, which I think is a requirement.
It is actually not a requirement. So, you know, they're able, you always get the option to either submit an archaeological survey directly or to have the SSU recommendation first. So in this instance, they opted to provide the archaeological survey.
Okay, yeah, well, I mean, a professional archaeologist has to go through the Northwest Information Center. So,
may I interject something?
Sure.
And Diana, please just state your name for the record.
Diana Wiedemann, project architect. We hit into COVID-19 and the center was not responding to William Roop, who has done lots of archaeological surveys, and therefore, since we're on a calendar for a coastal development permit, we are asked to submit it. And there were no findings on the site. It's a standard subdivision that's been there on Pallet Drive north of Mendocino forever. It's a small lot.
Got nothing to do with it.
so well, this subdivision would have been surveyed previously, wouldn't it?
Are you?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily, because I know there's some hit and miss areas. Some have and some haven't.
Yeah, this is Julia. There is oftentimes with some of these older subdivisions we see where there may have been an archaeological survey. I apologize, I don't know off the top of my head for the Pallet Drive subdivision if it had it, but I do see that our staff planner, Jessie Waldman, is aware. So she's unmuting herself now.
Hi, so Jessie Waldman, planner, Mendocino County Planning and Building. I referred this project out in January, and I did receive comment from Sonoma State Chris, Northwest Information Centers on February 20th that they did not have any, they do not have a record of any previous studies being done and recommended that one be done. And then the agents and the landowners provided the ARC survey to our office, Planning and Building Services, on July 21st. And so I also know that the subdivision, I believe, was done in the 70s, and I could be wrong with when that subdivision actually happened, but as of February from Northwest Information Services, which I believe was part of the packet you received, that there was no record for this parcel. If that answers any questions, thank you.
I guess I'm willing to accept the survey.
All right. Yeah, we didn't get that paper, usually that cover letter from Sonoma State. So, and then it also states in the report that that they were closed because of the pandemic. So
yeah,
the cover letter.
I was just
yeah.
Yeah,
Would you
So
like the response from Northwest?
Well, we'd always like to have it.
Okay.
But they did do it, Belle, so.
We'll have to work with our admin staff to get you guys a valid copy of that notice from Northwest.
So I'm okay with the survey too.
Yeah. I was a little disappointed in his description of ground clearance and how they looked at the subsurface stuff, but that's a little lacking. But
right.
I guess I'll accept it, I guess.
Well, I don't want to force you, Bill, but no, I understand what you're saying. I know we've it is a little lacking, but I think it's adequate.
From what I can see, I'd be inclined to accept it as well.
Okay, cool. Okay, we're good.
May I have a motion, please, on that?
Hey, it's Benjamin's turn.
Motion to approve and accept the survey.
Thank you. And with no additional comments, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second.
Thank you. Okay, so then let's run through our roll call here. So let's start with Bill.
Aye.
Okay, and Allison.
Yes.
And Benjamin.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. So with that, the survey has been accepted with any recommendations of the report being adhered to in addition to the discovery clause. So now we have reached the end of our regular agenda here. So now I want to come back to the administrative permit that we had moved to the end of the agenda. And what we have sent to all three of you over this break, both there's an email from myself and also an email from James Feenan, our Commission Services Supervisor, that contains documentation. And I would like for you to please look at the secondary email that came from me that includes a site plan that shows where that site is in relation to the proposed cultivation activities. And we could go ahead, our administrative staff could go ahead and pull over Brett and Stephen back into the meeting here or allow them to be able to speak too. So, but commissioners, if you're able to pull up your email, please take a look at that and look at the most recent email from myself, which contains just one single site plan. And then if you'd like to look as well, the attachment that came from James Feenan as well includes information of the original survey and where sites were identified. So you may want to pull up both to take a look at, and we'll give you a few minutes to review that. Commissioners, were you able to find that information within your emails?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. The question is, I don't know, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
So we still don't know where the sites are in relationship to the whatever it is, the grow. Yeah, grow. Yeah, so that's what well, I can see one of them. Wait a minute. Okay. Site 4, which
I'm
one?
gonna say, I mean, don't feel rushed at all. Please take your time to look it over and really see what you're familiar with looking at, and then we of course can turn over to the applicant and or the agent to hear any more information from them.
Okay, homestead.
So all I'm seeing is the old survey, a 7-page survey.
Yeah, so there's that old survey, and then I did do a secondary email with a site plan within it as well.
I don't think I received it.
Well, let me see what I can do here.
Okay.
Why don't I see?
Hello. Oh. What's it? Yeah. Okay, it's loading. We'll see.
Okay.
Are you finding it, Bill?
Yeah, just now. I didn't scroll down far enough. Okay, so
Well, I'm gonna go with your recommendation because I don't see where I'm.
So, so it's a little bit challenging here. I'm not quite sure. The applicant referred to a map that showed where the cultivation site was in relation to the ARC site, and I'm just not seeing that I have that readily accessible here. So what I do see, though, is in the survey document that was provided to you that showed where there was an identified site, this parcel is actually appears to be to the east of the area of an identified site.
So it's not even on the parcel that we're looking at?
That I can't say with absolute
Okay.
certainty without going deeper through the file. So.
Okay.
What's that?
Sorry, were you looking at that?
No, that next, the map below that.
Oh, sorry.
Do you have a topography map?
I opened the wrong one.
You can use Auntie's
Yeah, I mean, so, yeah, they say there are 4 sites, but there's only, they only show us one.
Right, so I think what's going on is this, because the survey that was done was for a timber harvest plan, which I imagine covered a significant area. And so probably what the blacked out portions that you see, which are the redacted portions, are likely sites that are not near or within the parcel of this area. So therefore that information would not have been shared with this property owner, as it would be reserved for the owners of those respective properties.
What does that mean?
Oh, sorry. So, you know, as with any archaeological sites identified, the information is really only accessible to the owner of that property. And so if there were 3 other sites identified as part of a timber harvest plan, likely those parcels that were reviewed under those timber harvest plans has been sold off over time. And so likely you have probably 4 different ownerships now, maybe in that area. So each owner that may have an archaeological site will only know about the site that affects their property. They will not be receiving the information about the sites on other properties that are not their own.
I don't know. I think I would like an archaeologist to look at the pad, especially the area where they're going to put the new greenhouses. Because there's no way I can't tell what's been surveyed and what hasn't been surveyed. Am I
Okay, do we
missing
have
something?
Oh, I think you certainly can have any comments or concerns that you may wish. We will turn to the applicant at a point here to hear any response they have or any comments. But I'd like to look to the other 2 commissioners as well to see if you have any additional comments on this item.
Well, I'm not seeing where this site is, so I'm not too comfortable about continuing.
Okay. And Benjamin, do you have any comments on this?
Not at present. I would like to see a little more detail on that.
Okay, so I'd like to turn it over to the applicant and agent for the project, Brett and Stephen. I don't know if either of you have any comments based upon what the commissioners have discussed here. As I understand it right now, the request would be essentially for additional information, and including an archaeological survey surrounding the area of proposed cultivation, particularly where the greenhouses are located or where additional greenhouses would be located. And so I will turn that over to you for any comment, and please just state your name for the record.
Hi, this is Brett Todderoff, the applicant. I did send in a site map showing where the ARC study is in relation to the cultivation area. It's very far off. It's nowhere close to where we are going to be cultivating. It's it's way down in the corner. I believe it might even be off the property line.
PBS commissions.
Very close to it. That was submitted to Mark Kleiser. I can do another survey if you would like. But you know, I had submitted it a really long time ago, and you know, have also been patiently waiting for 7 months now.
So, and Mark Kleiser just stepped out to go see if he can locate this document and share that with the commissioners as well. But I would like to allow the commissioners to continue discussing too whether or not that would satisfy you, or whether or not you're still interested in seeing additional information.
And
I have a question from Brett.
Yes.
Okay, so the new greenhouses are. Have you prepared the pads for those yet?
No, but they're within. Well, the property diagram I sent in.
This
new
is Stephen
greenhouses
Lee,
are going to be
agent for the
within.
applicant. If I could speak, the pad was previously developed prior to 2015, so the pad itself was already flattened out, and then the opportunity to become a compliant farm came up, and so you know, going through this process, and you know, we would have to submit building permits and go through that. But the pad has been there. There's no intent to blade off another pad to do any additional greenhouse construction, but there would be
So
ground
the-
disturbing activity associated with the building and the foundations for the greenhouses themselves.
You say there will be or there won't be?
There will be disturbance to previously disturbed area. The flat was graded out prior to the ordinance, and this follow-up activity would be to secure building permits and to construct the greenhouses, and that would be disturbance to previously disturbed flat.
So was that area previously surveyed by this 1985 survey?
Let me pull up the survey here.
Hold on here, Bill. It says covered approximately. Never mind.
So I just want to update the commissioners here. Mark Kleiser has reviewed his files, and we were unable to locate the site plan that was submitted by the applicant as demonstrating where the cultivation site was in relation to the archaeological site. So I just wanted to provide you that updated information. But of course, if the applicant wished to provide that to us again, or you know, to supplement any discussion here, we could either have that in front of the commissioners at, you know, if we took a little pause here to allow that time for that to come through, and or at a future meeting.
I did submit that. I sent it to Mark, but I also just emailed it to the PBS or PBS at MendocinoCounty.org. Well.
The only thing, Bill, that I'm seeing, it says, because this is a historic site, right?
Yeah,
Historic.
there's one Native American site. I think
Okay.
the others are homesteads. Yeah.
Okay. So we don't know what we're looking at. If it's this.
I don't. And
If
I
it-
don't know
well,
where
if
the
it's-
Native. I don't know where the Native American site is.
Right. So I was just going to mention that it talks about orchard, and you looking at these map or the overhead maps here, you don't see any kind of orchard. You know, you could
Right.
always tell. I mean, that was the
Yeah.
only thing I was going to mention. But we don't know if we're looking for the prehistoric or the historic sites. So.
Right. I mean, I guess it would be nice to have have an archaeologist look at the areas that have been disturbed and the new proposed greenhouses, and also to verify where the 4 sites are to make sure they're not being disturbed.
Right.
Or if they can provide us a map that shows where the 4 sites are and where the new greenhouses are going to go and where the current ones are.
Okay, so we were just taking a look around, and I apologize, Brett, it does not appear that your email came through to us at all. We didn't receive it in any of our inboxes. I'm not sure if you can check to be sure you sent it to the right location, but if I heard correctly from Bill, there may be still a desire to see additional information beyond even the site plan. Is that correct?
Who, me?
Yes,
Yeah.
Bill.
Yeah, I understood, Bill, that you said you may have a desire to see additional information beyond just the site plan that the applicant has that demonstrates where the cultivation activities are in relation to this known archaeological site.
Yeah, well, there are 4 sites, and the information so far only shows us where one of them is, but I'm not
still on my
sure
way home.
what where it's at in relationship to the grow area.
Okay, so wanting to see a site plan or some additional information demonstrating where the cultivation site is in relation to the archaeological sites as identified.
Right.
Okay. So do I have any other comments from commissioners on that?
Right. The maps that we have received, it's not helping. So I would tend to agree with Bill that either we have them provide us with more information, combining this map that we have received plus the archaeological site, or I just have somebody go at it again.
Okay.
Okay, and so, and Benjamin, do you have any additional comments beyond those expressed by Bill and Allison?
No, I'm inclined to agree with both of them on those matters.
Okay, and then Brett or Stephen, do you have any additional comments you'd like to add?
No, this is Steve Liu. The only request we would make is that if it would be possible to schedule us for the next hearing in August, I feel confident we will have the completed archaeological survey scheduled and completed within the next 2 to 3 weeks with the specifications that were requested by the commission here.
Excellent. I think we can very likely accommodate that request, Stephen, and just please work closely with Mark Kleiser, and you can always feel free to copy myself on any correspondence to ensure you get onto that agenda. So,
can you confirm the date for that meeting and the date that's required to ensure the commissioners receive the archaeological survey in a timely fashion?
So August 12th would be the hearing date, and we would need to be receiving all documentation from you. Ideally, we would be receiving that by essentially 2 weeks out from now, by Friday, July 24th. We may be able to push a little bit into that following week, but ideally, I'd want to see the full survey from you on the 24th.
Okay, that is a little tight, but we will see, and we'll keep in touch with Mr. Kleiser and see what we can do to meet that timeline.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. So with that, I will need a motion from our commission here, just restating the motion here that you wish to make.
Okay, I make a motion that AP 2019-0073 that an archaeologist identify where the 4 previously recorded archaeological sites are in relationship to the current GROW, as well as the proposed additional greenhouses. And to ensure that those areas actually have been surveyed or will be surveyed.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a second on the motion?
I'll second.
Thank you, Allison. So I will go through a roll call vote here. So Benjamin.
Yes.
Allison.
Yes.
And Bill.
Affirmative.
Thank you. Okay, so with that, the item is continued with direction to the applicant to have an archaeologist identify where the 4 previous sites are in relation to the current GROW operation and any additional greenhouses, and also including whether or not that area had been previously surveyed. So with that, thank you, commissioners, and thank you to the applicant and agent for being on the line today. That actually concludes our hearing items. So I would like to turn to the commission and ask if you have any matters from commission that you wish.
None for me.
Okay.
Nothing here.
Thank you. And Bill?
Well, I live in Cobolo, Round Valley, and I've noticed that there are lots of greenhouses, recent greenhouses that have been permitted in bulldozed areas adjacent our major creek, have created large pads, gravel pads, and they have not been surveyed. And I'm wondering how this is happening. How is it that a big GROW can come in and just pay the county some money and get a permit and establish a pad in an archaeologically sensitive area adjacent streams and not have it archaeologically surveyed?
So I will do my best to respond to this one. So what I will say is with many sites, and I would have to look at each individual parcel specifically or site that you have concerns about, which I'd be happy to do, but I would need addresses or parcel numbers to be able to look into that with our code enforcement division. But the thing is, with many of the cannabis cultivation sites, often activities are considered ministerial. So ministerial means you just come through and obtain a building permit and may not necessarily be subject to archaeological review unless there were previous conditions applied at the subdivision level, like when the parcel was created, or there's been a subsequent use permit or administrative permit that may have required that all future improvements come back before the commission for review and consideration. So I would, Bill, I think this would be an important conversation that maybe we have offline to look at some of these sites that you're seeing and ensure that everything is being properly permitted on those sites and that you're not looking at any sort of enforcement issue.
You want the address for one of these?
I would not like it over the screen here. I'd like you to follow up with an email to me, please, including any additional information or photographs or anything, and I'd be happy to look into it.
Okay, because I mean, you're allowing ministerial decisions by just accepting money for a permit, and it's a violation of CEQA.
Well, I don't want to get into the specifics, but I think, there is a statutory exemption related to ministerial actions pursuant to CEQA. So if you do have a building permit, things such as that, it is actually statutorily exempt pursuant to CEQA. There is not discretion for the county to require CEQA compliance over those projects. But I think this would be... I think this would be a good
If it affects-
conversation to continue having, and I'd be happy to also agendize it for a future meeting where maybe we even have council present as well to help discuss the specifics and some of the roles of the commission in relation to ministerial actions.
No, that'd be great.
Okay.
Okay.
Were there any other items from the commission?
Not here.
Okay. Excellent.
No.
Negative? No.
Okay, so then any matters from public, and since I know that we don't have any public members here and we've received no requests for telecomment, I'm going to go ahead and say that we do not have any comments. And then, so other than, you know, of course, the public correspondence we received via email, which has been shared with you on that specific case. So then with no other additional comments, we're going to go ahead and adjourn the meeting here at 3:40 p.m. I just want to say my sincerest appreciation to all the commission members for participating today. I know it's strange to be doing this via Zoom, and thank you for bearing with us through some of the kinks in the process of getting ourselves up and running, and it will just continue to improve over time. So,
And do we get reimbursed for the gigabytes used? For I just had to put out $100 to have enough internet to do this.
I would want you to follow up with our commission staff on that. I am not sure around the whether or not there's anything covered in the budget for that. So
Send the bill to the county and see what they say.
right. Well, so thank you all very much. We will be seeing you again at the August meeting. And if you have any questions or anything that comes up during that time, please feel free to reach out to staff. While Vandy is out of the office, I will be your primary contact for the Archaeological Commission. So.
Okay,
All
so
right.
your email's
Well,
on
thank
that.
you.
Your email's on that.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Your email's on that link, right, Julia?
It is, and it's very simple. It's just my last name, Acker, A-C-K-E-R, J for Julia, at MendocinoCounty.org.
Okay, cool.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. So with that, I'm going to adjourn the meeting here. It is 3:42, and you all have a good rest of the day and stay safe.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. You too.
See you.
Bye,
Nice seeing
guys.
you, Bill. Bye.
Yeah, good seeing you too, Benjamin, everybody.
Take care.